Hello, welcome to my latest video. This time I'm doing two little mice in a scene, and normally I do wildlife in acrylics or watercolour or something, but this time I've decided to use oils and use the same technique as I do my landscapes with. So here I've done a quick blocking, and as usual, very crude blocking. I really must take the time to do a slightly better one. And starting with the furthest away, gradually moving towards the foreground, I'm painting this rock. Well, let's just call it a rock. It's more like a stone because these mice are seriously tiny, and I'm painting them blown up probably 4 times. Now the simple idea here is I look closely at the reference photograph and mix my colours as closely as possible and simply paint by numbers, but without the guide and without the bounding lines. But essentially it's the same. This little top corner is completely behind the long diagonal log. You probably can't quite tell it's a log yet, but I need to paint everything behind that log and let it dry before I can start on this log. I'm using my usual Winsor & Newton Griffin paints, which are alkyds, hence they dry in about 2 to 3 hours, so I don't have to wait long. The plan is this little mouse I'm just finishing up on the top left is not hopefully it's not going to be immediately obvious, because the focal point you should go straight to the mouse that's closer to the center. Now I'm onto the log proper, and curiously the bark that's still left, this is the bit I'm painting now, is extremely blue, and this was really blue, a sort of slaty blue in real life, and the browns just below it is where this top bark had long since fallen off, because this log is very rotten and covered in moss, in case you were wondering what the big splodges all over it are, which I haven't painted yet. Now the plan for everything here is I paint everything in just the big bold shapes, and then once that's finished I go over it again with the finer shapes, and I keep refining until I decide enough is enough. I am mindful of the lighting a little bit, but I will go over the whole thing at the end with washes to darken up the dark areas and to unify it all together. Now all this green stuff is the moss, and it's everywhere, and I'm just here I'm just putting a kind of background texture to it. This is all the areas you'll see poking through when the actual top layer is on. I've got a long rigger brush here that I've flattened to a sort of a chisel, and I'm just dabbing it onto the board to make these long ragged lines. And there you can see I just had it was probably another day, I've just gone over it with a dark wash to make some shape, some light and dark shapes. And here I'm not sure how light I should do the highlights, so I'm just mixed up some paint that's a little bit lighter, going over where I say sun, this is actually an artificial environment, so it's not a sun at all. But I'm not sure how light to go, so I'm being very careful. Just lightening the paint a little bit, going over it again, and I will adjust it at the end when everything's in place. Another wash of dark to get a bit more contrast in, and another go with the highlights. I'm not quite happy with them yet. Now finally the main mouse. I'd almost forgotten there, these little white things are seed husks that we call them. They are the shell of seeds. It shows you how small these mice are, because they are just seeds. And while I'm painting the fur of the mice, all I'm doing is choosing the colour carefully from the reference photograph and applying it in lots of little dashed lines. And we're finished. Hope you enjoyed that little look at me painting a couple of mice, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.